Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This one comes from Alan Greggs. Hi, John. Easily my most anticipated thing coming to TV is the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon. I thought the trailer looked great, and I love what I've been seeing so far. Did you see that George R.R. Martin is saying the writing in the series is even better than his writing? Is it because it's complete? What do you think of his comments? What do you think of his comments, and where is your anticipation right now for House of the Dragon? Thank you.
Ooh, George R.R. Martin is sitting somewhere right now feeling a burn in his ass. And what happened?
Come after me, Martin.
Anyway, yeah, listen, House of the Dragon is one of the most interesting projects coming. Like, a lot of us extremely excited about it. But there's also in some segments, there's also some mixed feelings because some people, inexplicably me, didn't like the final season of Game of Thrones, which I thought was freaking brilliant. Come at me. And you know, one set the record for winning more Emmys than any other season of television in history. It was quite a big win. But the reality is it didn't work for everybody, and it left some people feeling like the final episode, or final season, I should say, was a bit of a letdown. So going into a new Game of Thrones series, there's some trepidation on the behalf of some of those people who didn't quite like the final season or so, saying, can they recapture that magic? Can they get there again? They released the first couple of promo spots. I thought they looked like a lot of fun and really good, and they definitely felt like we were going back to those kingdoms again. So it's working for me. But now George R.R. Martin has kind of chimed in, and he is seen 9 out of the 10 episodes. And he is just singing from the rooftops about how great he thinks these things are, even suggesting that the screenwriters have improved on his writing. This is what George R.R. Martin had to say. That comes to us from IndieWire. He said, I've now watched rough cuts of 9 of the 10 episodes, and I continue to be impressed, Martin wrote. I cannot speak to the special effects, many of which are not in yet, but the look of it is great, and the acting, the directing, the writing are all first rate. And yes, for all of you book fans, it is my story. Sure, there are some changes from Fire and Blood. We could not present 3 alternative versions of every major event, not and keep our sanity. But I think Ryan Condal and his writers made good choices, even some improvements. Heresy, I know, being the author, I'm allowed to say so. And that comes to us from IndieWire. All right, couple things here. As somebody who is very much looking forward to this show, not quite as much as the Lord of the Rings show, but still very, very excited about this particular show. By the way, how great is it that we're going to have both of these shows running at the same time? This is going to be some sick good time to be a TV fan. But as somebody who's excited about this show, this is even more exciting to me. To hear the author of the show come out, or the author of the original stories come out and say, look, this is great. It makes changes to my original story, yes, but they were necessary and they work. It looks great. The acting is superb. By the way, he goes on in this story to write about how, or to talk about Paddy Considine, who he said is just kills it. He said he's coming to life on the screen better than he did in the pages of my book, which is absolutely incredible to hear. But to hear a guy like this come out and say, I think an author come out and say, it might even make some improvements over my work. That's pretty neat to hear. So it leaves me, look, somebody involved with the project says their project is great. Water is wet.
Right.
But George R.R. Martin is a little more conservative in handing out praise like that. So it's exciting for me to hear. Rob, you hear what Martin has to say. Does this do anything to move the needle for you on House of the Dragon?
Yeah, no, it does. You know, George R.R. Martin does have a long history in TV way before Game of Thrones. I think he was the creator and producer of the old Beauty and the Beast television show with Linda Hamilton. And
really?
Yeah.
And Ron Perlman?
Yeah, and Ron Perlman.
Wow, that was a show.
Yeah, that was a show. And that was a huge phenomenon when it was on. People love that show. So he's written, they adapted his story Sand Kings for the Outer Limits revival, the television show that was out of Canada. So he's had a long history in TV. And if he says something is good, I mean, obviously, actor loves new movie. You know, producer loves, author loves great adaptation of his own books, film at 11. So this is not something that's unusual, but for him to come out and say this now, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think the show looks great. Look, give me that political intrigue. I guess it's about the civil war between the Targaryen clan, whatever. Right up my alley. And I think, this day and age, those political machinations always work well on TV if they're well done. And I look forward to going back to Westeros. This is not something that I might not have loved the last season of Game of Thrones, but overall, Game of Thrones is an incredible achievement in the annals of television. I mean, it's an unbelievable show, and to go back to this world, it's an embarrassment of riches. And if the author says that it's good, I'm excited, man.
Chris, what do you make of his comments here?
I mean, Drogon level burns aside. I think this is great. It is really difficult to adapt things for television film. It's really, really hard to take massive novels and make them work on the screen. So I do love that he's saying that this is, a real triumph, and they've taken his writing and elevated it in a way. I wasn't a big fan of the last season of Game of Thrones. Woo, what a hot take. But, it doesn't negate how much I enjoyed the other seasons.
Yeah, that's right.
I also started watching the show on Red Wedding, which was a hell of a way to jump in there. My friends were watching it.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, and then I was just like, oh, what's happening? Oh, this is horrible. I love it. I think this is also, it's set far enough away from what we saw before in Game of Thrones that there's so much story here. And even though we know how things pan out far in the future, there's so much to delve in here. It's, it's got a Tolkien-esque kind of historical view, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. And I'm so excited that I'll get to compare and contrast the two.
John, it's really going to be interesting, like you pointed out, to have both of these shows running concurrently. They're both kind of doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. They're showing us the history of these lands that we're already very familiar with. So it's going to be interesting to compare and contrast the two while they're going on.
And, George R.R. Martin made a great comment the other week that we talked about on the show. And George R.R. Martin said, people writing, is your show going to be better? And blah, blah. He goes, who cares? He goes, we're science fiction fans. This is amazing that Lord of the Rings, like George R.R. Martin was geeking out and saying, this is so great that we're going to have our show and we're going to have the Lord of the Rings show running at the same time. It's a wet dream if you're a sci-fi, literature fan. This is going to be incredible. He goes, of course, I hope we win more awards, but I mean, it's just an exciting time, and it is an exciting time. I can't wait to see this. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the comments from George R.R. Martin talking about the House of the Dragon? Are you excited for it? Are you like some people where you're a little bit cautious because of the way that Game of Thrones ended for you? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Upside. You guys remember a while ago, I started using Upside. Upside is an incredible, easy to use app for buying groceries, dining out, or even buying gas. And with every purchase you make at those shops, restaurants, or gas stations, you are earning cash back thanks to Upside. When I started using Upside, I was incredibly impressed with just how easy the app is to use and how easy it is to start accumulating cash that I can deposit directly into my bank account, PayPal, Amazon gift card, many different ways. And like I said, I was incredibly impressed at just how easy and simple and straightforward the process is to start getting cash back now. To get started, just download the free Upside app in the Apple App Store or Google Play. Use my promo code CAMPEA, that's CAMPEA, and get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. Once you've got the app, just claim an offer for whatever it is you're buying on Upside. Check in at the business, pay as usual with a debit card or a credit card, and get paid. So download the free Upside app and use promo code CAMPEA to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more using the promo code CAMPEA.